Tso Moriri, Lake Moriri Tibetan, Wylie, mtsho, is a lake in the Ladakhi part of the Changthang Plateau in Jammu and Kashmir in northern India. The lake is at an altitude of 4,522 meters. It is the largest of the high-altitude lakes entirely within India and entirely within Ladakh in this Trans-Himalayan biogeographic region. The official name of the land and water reserve here is the Tso Moriri Wetland Conservation Reserve. The lake is fed by springs and snow melt from neighboring mountains. Most water enters the lake in two major stream systems, one entering the lake from the north, the other from the southwest. Both stream systems include extensive marshes where they enter the lake. It formerly had an outlet to the south, but this has become blocked and the lake has become a endorrheic lake. The lake is oligotrophic in nature, and its waters are alkaline. Accessibility to the lake is largely limited to summer season, though Kazakh on the northwest shore and the military facilities on the eastern shores have year-round habitation. Topography. As per a classification of the Himalayan lakes done on the basis of their origin, there are four groups and Tso Moriri falls under the third group of remnant lakes. The classification as reported states: glacial lakes which are formed in and around glaciers, structural lakes formed by folds or faults due to movements in Earth's crust, remnant lakes which were originally structural but represent the remnants of vast lakes, natural dammed lakes, i.e. temporary water bodies formed along the river courses due to deposition of rocks or debris, e.g. Gonatal in Garhwal, Uttarakhand. The Changthang Plateau in the eastern Ladakh represents a landscape of low-productive ecosystems which protects unique floral and faunal species. The area is an extension of the western Tibetan Plateau that lies above 4,500 meters MSL and supports diverse but low populations of several globally threatened mammals. The Lakes Basin could also be categorized as an basin since it is a closed drainage basin that retains water and allows no outflow to other bodies of water such as rivers or oceans. The lake is 20 to 50 kilometers southeast of the elevated valley of the core Rupshu Valley and falls within the greater Rupshu Plateau and Valley area. The lake is ringed by hills rising over 6,000 meters. Changpas, the nomadic migratory shepherds of yak, sheep, goat, and horses of Tibetan origin and who are engaged in trade and work on caravans in Ladakh region, are the main inhabitants of the area. Changpa herders use the land of this valley as grazing ground and for cultivation. The working report of the Planning Commission of the Government of India also reports, despite a poor vegetation cover, relatively low standing biomass and high anthropogenic pressure, this area sustains a considerably high livestock population. Steady increase in the livestock population in the area is mainly attributed to influx of nomadic herders from Tibet during recent decades and promotion of Pashmina goat production by the Animal Husbandry Department for fine quality underwool. The herders and AHD officials in recent years have begun to raise concern over degradation of pastures, resultant shortage of forage, and mass mortality of livestock during severe winters. The Kazakh monastery on the western bank of the lake is 400 years old and attracts tourists and Buddhist pilgrims. Tourism during May to September attracts large number of foreign and local tourists even though tented accommodation is the facility available, apart from a small pond guest house close to the lake. Northeast of Tso Moriri is a small lake which is known locally as Lake of Joy. Access. The lake is located to the southeast of Leh in eastern Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir, at a road distance of 240 kilometers. The road is in a good condition for the most part. One can also reach Tso Moriri directly from the Pangong Tso via the remote Changthang region. This is considered to be one of the most beautiful drives in the entire Ladakh region. Foreigners are not allowed to go beyond the manned Merak villages on Pangong Tso as permits are not issued for them. The distance between Pangong Tso and Tso Moriri is 235 kilometers and there are no petrol pumps in the area. Carrying enough fuel is therefore necessary. Leh is also connected by air with many destinations in India. Hydrology and water quality. The lake, draining a catchment area of 120 square kilometers, is enclosed by peaks exceeding 6,000 meters on both the east and west sides. On the south, a nearly flat valley connects with but does not drain into or out of the Perchu. This valley contains the Tsomoriri Wetlands, a boggy area that mostly drains into the Perchu. Several small mountain streams feed the lake, including one through pasture land at Puldola. The lake is fed by springs and snowmelt and has a maximum depth of 40 meters. Aridity and cold desert conditions prevail in the lake region, with summer temperature varying from 0 degrees to 30 degrees Celsius and winter temperature recording -10 degrees and -40 degrees Celsius. Geologically, the lake is in Ordovician rock. Fauna and flora. An avifaunal survey of the lake and its adjoining Tsomoriri Wetland conducted in July 1996 revealed the following facts. Avifauna of 34 species of birds included 14 species of water birds, of which following are the vulnerable species: black-necked cranes, endangered; bar-headed geese, only breeding ground in India; brown-headed gulls, great crested grebe, ferruginous bokor, black-necked grebe; mammals, Tibetan gazelle, Procapra picticard, otter, goa antelope, lynx, nyan ovis salmon, hodgsoni, barrel, Himalayan blue sheep, Tibetan ass or equus kang, endemic to the Tibetan Plateau, great Tibetan sheep. One species of marmot, Marmota himalayana, in large numbers seen on the hill slopes surrounding the lake and also along the roadsides. One species of hare, Lepisaurus stolus. One species of vole, Alticola royali. 3 species of mouse hares, Ochotona macroti, Ochotona curzonia, Tibetan sand fox and Cinchella ladacensis. Large carnivores. Fauna reported are the snow leopard, the Tibetan wolf. Vegetation. While the deeper parts of the lake have no vegetation, the shallow areas are reported to have Potamogton sps. Marshes have several species of sedges and reeds, particularly carex, caragana and astragalus sps, which are all representative of the surrounding arid steppe vegetation. Details of the vegetation recorded in the area comprises the following: characteristic caragana and astragalus species, Potamogton species, several species of carex, primula and pedicularis, common species of Juncus thomsoni and Leontopodium sp. Phytoplankton species of Oocystis with density was 900 cells, L to a depth of 25 meters. Specimens of the diatom Cyclotella also recorded. Pastures for domestic livestock. Ramsar site, largely based on the ecological diversity of the lake and its surroundings. The Tso Moriri was notified in November 2002 under the list of Ramsar wetland sites under the Ramsar Convention. The justification could be summarized as the faunal collection is unique and has a large variety with endemic and vulnerable species. The herbivore species are also endemic to the region. The lake plays a fundamental role as breeding grounds and key staging posts on migration routes for several water birds belonging to 6 families, which is distinctive of wetland diversity and productivity. Threats to the lake. There are a number of threats to the lake, such as increase in the number of tourists visiting the lake affecting the breeding of avifauna, additional road construction along the lake, pasture degradation affecting wildlife, particularly wild herbivores, an increase in the grazing of sheep in the wetlands surrounding the lake, the absence of a proper garbage disposal facility at the lake. Dogs kept by the people who live near the lake are known to attack the cranes and destroy their eggs. Jeep safaris have been known to chase wildlife such as kang and approach close to the breeding ground. Lack of regulations and monitoring by the government. Conservation efforts. The need for evolving a strategy and an action plan to preserve the extreme fragility of the lake ecosystem has been recognized, with the needed emphasis at the national and international level to develop the lake conservation activity with participation of all stakeholders. The actions initiated in this direction are: Tso Moriri is an administratively declared wetland reserve. Legally, shooting wildlife is prohibited. The State Department of Wildlife has set up its checkpost near Mafe Bridge at the entrance towards the lake. WWF India project has established a field office at Kauzik on the northwest shore of Tso Moriri for conservation of high-altitude wetlands in Ladakh region, to carry out surveys, interact with tourists, tour guides, act as information center and conduct education awareness programs for locals, tourists, etc. Wildlife Institute of India has also set up a field station at Leh to carry out scientific research in the region. Nature clubs have been set up, an information booklet on the lake published. Efforts of WWF India has also resulted in the local community declaring Tso Moriri as a sacred gift for a living planet during the annual conference held in Nepal in November 2000. Some of the other achievements so far reported on the lake's conservation are: regulation in consultation with local community. Vehicular traffic flow and parking has been restructured with restriction of camping sites around the lake. The Indo-Tibetan border petrol tour operators and local population have introduced regular garbage cleaned-up operations. Kauzik community living around the lake has voluntarily built traditional and social fencing around the wetland to protect breeding and feeding grounds from vehicular traffic. Tso Moriri Conservation Trust has been set up. 20 nature clubs have been registered in different schools in Ladakh. The Indian Army has committed to support and set up a nature interpretation center at Hall of Fame, Leh. World Wildlife Fund's role. World Wildlife Fund for Nature India is spearheading the efforts at conservation of the Tso Moriri Lake in particular, and the Ladakh region in general. WWF's activities as a NGO have spanned more than 30 years. The main objective set by WWF is the main activities planned for the Tso Moriri and other wetlands in Ladakh regions are: the promotion of nature conservation and environmental protection as the basis for sustainable and equitable development. Evolve plan to establish a sustainable tourism model managed by local communities at Tso Moriri. Carry on with the biological and socio-economic surveys around selected wetlands and document for future reference. Organize capacity building training programs for tour operators, army, teachers and local communities. Frequent education and awareness programs for various target groups. Management planning for Tso Moriri and also Soka and Pangong Tso lakes by involving major stakeholders. To set guidelines for introducing ecotourism certification scheme in Ladakh. To mobilize financial resources to carry out a comprehensive strategic environment assessment. Develop environmental management systems, implement and certify the environment management systems with special focus on tourism sector. Maintain and enhance existing field presence at Tso Moriri, Leh, and Soka, and increase presence at Chursul and Hanli marshes as well to achieve better results.